All right, folks. 18, last one. So number 17 actually turned into a first mentorship, which was awesome. So thank you very much for that support. And we covered a lot of cool stuff, a lot of juicy tips and tricks. On that note, I'm now moved over to Ko-fi. So if you want to support, optional, of course. If you want to support the channel, you can donate, or you can book a session for where we can go into more detail about lighting workflows mainly, since I focus as a lighting artist, and various tips and tricks that I use in my pieces that we haven't yet spoken about. And plus I've got some stuff here on the gallery that can be accessed too. So yeah, last one since number 17 went into mentorship. So for number 17, whereas I feel as though it's my best environment, I feel that the composition and scale has always looked off. Unsure if this comes across to anyone else. Other than that, general comments and feedback, as I have previously been focused on realism. And this is Elijah. Again, Elijah used to be an older student of mine, and looks like Elijah is focusing now on stylized. So we will give it feedback based on that. So you're unsure about the scale and the composition. So I to a degree with stylized, you can do a bit more with the scale, but a lot of it really depends on, as long as you're testing it with the scale mesh, you put the scale mesh, some of these scale meshes come with rigs, so you can actually move the rig, move the hands and stuff, see if the foot would fit on a step, see if a hand would fit on a door handle, a character stood on the balcony, what would happen. So composition and scale and general notes. So first notes I'm going to bring out is the general storytelling of your scene. So I'm not sure if this is based on, so loosely based off the city. So I'm not sure, like, for example, maybe this fire hydrant does exist like this, but it seems like a bit of a weird spot to have it. But also this plant pot is very risky, so this plant pot could easily fall off and bonk someone on the head. So I'm not 100% sure if that sort of set dressing would work. Now this set dressing on the stairs is actually really cool because you're hiding what we call the geometry seam. You still have places where it's evident, where you want like little pieces of weed, or not weed that you smoke, but weeds as in like plants and stuff. And the same with this edges here. So you've done a bit of the dressing of the edges here, but just make sure that you address it with textures as well, because you've got this aircon unit. It would be nice to have a bit more obvious decal dirt down here, and where the window meets the stucco, and vice versa. It'd be nice to have some decals to really sell the detail of what you're doing. Be careful, you got a tangent. Oh, you got a tangent here. So that's where the edge of an asset will meet up perfectly. Just as the asset ends, the edge of the asset ends, it meets up on the border, which is like a tension point in the image. It's a bit annoying. It's not really as bad up here because it goes into the plant, but here it's like slightly touching the edge. It's really annoying. That's what tangents do, right? They a sore spot for the eye. So you want to pull that fire hydrant forward a little bit, so it creates a nice little gap of what you're doing. Yeah, so you're doing stuff with set dressing like fallen leaves and the plant pots, but you need more, you got a bit of it here, like texture, detail and blending. We need more of that to break up the surfaces. I'd also check how bright, it might be the style you're going for with this brightness, but just be wary because it does get quite bright in some areas. I like that you're mixing up camera angles. And again, check the brightness here, it's quite bright and overblown. You probably need to put some more detail in your curb because it looks like, tiling texture, trim sheet on a cube, whereas you could push and pull some of those, even have a modular version where it's broken off, so it breaks up the really obvious repetition and tiling. A little bit more space on the bottom of your fire hydrant to reduce the tangent. Your camera composition is definitely getting much better from when I last saw you a few years ago. So it's good to see your progression in the way you're laying out work and the way you're doing stuff. And like, yeah, you're laying out work in a modular way. You're doing all the right things, which is good. You just need more time on the polish phase. I feel as though you've got the main forms and the main chunk of stuff down. However, it really needs that detail and polish pass to break up forms and push it a bit further. Because from a geometry point of view, it does rely a bit too much on simple shapes. You've got some cool assets here, but there needs to be more breakup in the road and the surfacing of the road and the way the trees are placed in terms of their leaves and whatnot. I like the bike. The bike's cool. I mean, composition, yeah, it's a street alley, right? So this is a more typical composition where you're looking down into the street, but you are going to draw attention into this corner with this bright red fire hydrant. So, if you want me to look down here and not all the way back in this corner, the placement of that, you either crop in or remove it. Or try and make it darker on the framing elements. I think looking down here as well, maybe the sun rays could have hit the bike, the moped, to help guide that eye down there. But because you've got so much colourful stuff, it's going to take the attention from the eye in a lot of places. So just being wary what is more saturated and what is brighter in some parts. Like shots here, right? You can see like it's a brick tileable texture on a floor. If you're going to have close-up shots, you've got to really see all the detail. So you've got to go in and pop some of those bricks up and down. I say break up the curb, break up the floor. Don't just rely purely on tileable texture. Introduce some 3D form to that, because we're in that sort of Gen 5 area where we want to add additional layers to flat surfaces. We can't just rely on a flat surface with a tileable. If we're getting this close, we need to break it up. Look at the foliage in terms of the shading. It looks flat lit. It's very bright. And I can't see like the root or the stems between them. They kind of look like they're floating. So you're going to want to look at that texture and what's happening there with it. A door might have hinges on the inside, but I don't know if the door's meant to have the hinges on the outside. You could have a look at that as well. The way you're presenting stuff is cool. It's clean. I think most of your textures have the consistent style. Yeah, like in the asset views, these look quite, because they're being rendered. I don't know if you're rendering them separately, but they look a lot better than in the level, which may mean that your lighting or making sure your maps are imported correctly. I'm not a fan of this sort of strip of textures. I would rather just show the unwrap. Also, based on the unwrap, I can tell there's not too much going into your roughness. You got a lot of UVs here for the middle, whereas you could have baked that down into a flat piece. Or maybe if you didn't want to have the model detail, do maybe like 4 of them, 1, 2, 3, 4, not all of them at once. I think there's a few ways, but I'm not 100% sure about all these little floating UVs. It seems as though it could be done a better way. Some rotated madness going on here. Looks like something's rotated. So avoid having rotated UVs as much as you can for hard surface. Texturing will be much easier and cleaner for you to work on a straight surface. But yeah, I can see in your roughness, that's just like a cloud texture or a noise. You need more medium detail to help break it up. Like when the roughness maps are kind of like this in generic, and you can't really make out the medium detail, any scratches, any smudges, you really want to add that in. Roughness is the map you can go ham on. Presentation of this is cool. Yeah, just model out bricks more, model out more, put more into your tileable textures and model them in and out. In process, cool. Yeah, I would have, you can see like pretty early on, you kind of lock in and start going in. Whereas you could have, I would have, you got to spend a bit more time on the block out, right? Your GIF goes from block out straight into production. Whereas I would have stayed a bit more in block out, moved things around, refined the lighting even on the flat grey, and then gone in, because you've got those sort of issues of tangent and the fire hydrant and whatnot. So if you lock in a block out that is ineffective, it's going to be ineffective in the final product. So you want to make sure you are really going in on your block outs and investing time into the lighting of them and your initial setup. But yeah, I think overall you're definitely improving. You just need to get the extra level of storytelling on these assets with texture blends, decals, model variations, so you're not relying on flat faces so much with tileables on. You know, break out some of those forms when you can and pop them up and down and vice versa. And pay attention to like the poly count of stuff. I can see like the low poly edge on here, the support tangents right into the bottom of the image. So yeah, those little tight tension points and tangents, be wary of. And other than that, yeah, I think your breakdowns are good. I think you're in the right sort of zone and approach. Just focus down, that's what I'd say. See if you can take your moped asset and just really polish it up. Maybe take this angle and just make this look really good, and don't worry about anything else outside, and use it as like a study piece. You know, I'm going to make this shot look as good as it can, rotate the direction light to hit the bike, sell the materials, put decent polygons into it, make it look nice with gradients and even more stylization. And then once that shot is good, you can have confidence in going into the other shots. So you are slightly bordering on a little bit of overscope, just because you've got so many camera angles of like essentially a city block, which is why you've struggled to fill in all of the bits at once. So try and lock in at 1 or 2 camera angles for your scenes and focus the quality into them. All right. Hopefully that helps. Again, I've taught you before, so you're definitely improving, and it seems like you want to focus on stylized. So keep paying attention to as many stylized folios as you can, sculpting stylized as well and baking it down, and you'll be good. Well, no, hopefully that helps, chat, and good luck.